Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. Viewers, today we'll be again talking about the security, especially the regional security in perspective of India, Pakistan. But today, in fact, Pakistan has been facing for a long time the terrorism, and it is challenging Pakistan internal security. And today, in Orakzai district of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, we have seen that 19 terrorists were being killed, but at the same time, we have lost very precious, security forces. They were being martyred there, including one colonel and one major. So this terrorism is persistently, internally creating a challenge for Pakistan peace and security. So we'll be focusing on it and the role of Afghanistan and the role of India in Pakistan, the terrorism that Pakistan is facing. I have a very prominent guest today, once again, um, former Secretary Defense, General Naeem Lodhi. Thank you very much, sir, for joining
It's
us.
a pleasure.
Uh,
Thanks a lot for having me.
Sir, kindly tell me, because the Indians, once they were being defeated in May this year, and I'll be coming back to the same question again, that once again they have started giving, threatening statements, the military leadership of India as well as their political leadership. So their prime minister and the rest of their senior, leadership, they have been saying that the Sindoor operation is, still continuing, and we have seen that they have a very, extensive role in terrorism in Pakistan. What you would say?
Thank you very much. In fact, this is very strange that they are not learning lessons. Whatever has happened to them, not once but many times. We very clearly remember whatever happened in 2019, the Abhinandan episode I'm talking about. Then whatever happened in this May, the whole world saw it. The whole world is of the opinion that Pakistan had a decisive victory against them. But they fail to learn. And if anybody doesn't learn, you can't help it. Because if they do the same thing again, I think whatever they've learned earlier, this time the lesson will be even harsher, more bitter for them. But anyway, what they are doing is, in my opinion, what I can analyze, that they are attacking us from three directions. One are these terrorism, this indirect attack from Afghanistan. From it also comes from the seaside. Also, some of their agents are embedded in within Pakistan. Also, the vast areas of Balochistan and some populated areas. Second is the cyber terrorism, or the social media terrorism, digital terrorism, which I think Army Chief mentioned today also. So what they are doing is that they are, spreading misinformation, disinformation, and unfortunately, some of our young people they get carried away with that, and without verifying whether this, whatever has been posted is right or wrong, or fake. They start forwarding it, and then a sort of negative feelings are created within a small, section of the society. And third is these threatening statements which are coming nowadays. So one they say that Operation Sindhur is continuing. I agree with that, because what they are doing is that they are short of physically attacking. What they are doing is that they are attacking us indirectly, both in the cyber area, in the digital area, and also through the terrorist based in Afghanistan and elsewhere also. So, but we are fighting back very well, and Pakistan armed forces, Pakistan government, they have understood their plans, and even the world has understood. You must have noticed that throughout the world there's a sort of rejection of the Indians living in their areas, whether it is Europe or America and all that. So I think they will be facing even harsher circumstances if they keep pursuing the same policy against Pakistan.
They have been launching the proxies through Afghanistan. What we can do with Afghanistan, because we have been asking Afghanistan for time again that they should guard their land, and they should fulfill the promises they made while they were signing an agreement, in Qatar, when the Americans forces and the international forces they left Afghanistan. So they are not fulfilling their responsibilities, and then at the same time we see that Afghan leadership and this interim government, they have a very close association with the Indian government.
I think whenever any country has a close association with your enemy country, we should also have some introspection that why it has happened. It means that we must have ceded some space which has been occupied by the enemy. Having said that, let me put across two, three factors. The first is you must have noticed that in Moscow recently there was a quadrilateral meeting regarding Afghanistan in which China, Iran, Pakistan, and Russia they reiterated once again, and they emphasized on the Afghan government that what they are supposed to do as far as the terrorism which is emanating from their soil is concerned. They have once again told them that. So that pressure is going on. The other thing we must understand is that Afghanistan is not a heterogeneous government or a heterogeneous society. Within Afghanistan, there are factions which are pro-Pakistan, and they don't want this thing to happen. The standoff between Pakistan and Afghanistan. But then there are other factions which are not very friendly with Pakistan. So instead of labeling Afghanistan as a whole, as a country, as a enemy country, as one of our minister has said, we should try to avoid that because there are certain common enemies which are enemies of Pakistan and Afghanistan also, let us say like Daesh, like ISIK. Pakistan should keep on trying to engage the Afghan people and Afghan government and asking them that we can fight the common enemies together as far as Daesh is concerned, ISIK is concerned. So this will automatically weaken, Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan and also BLA and all those actual powers behind BLA and TTP, which are our main enemies, and Daesh, and those are, one we know is raw. So actually, we have to act against these people once they come here. We have to fight back, and there should be no negotiation with them unless they lay down their arms. And secondly, we have to teach raw some lessons in the same manner or in the same coin. And I think our people have understood that. So instead of alienating Afghanistan as a whole, as a country, we should be very selective, very prudent that how to deal with them. We must talk to them. We must pressurize them through China, through Russia, through whatever means we have. We also have, all their trade goes through Pakistan. They have to use our, ports, all these things. So these are the pressure tactics that we should be exercising, and not proclaiming them as a enemy country. That is not a wise thing to do. All the Afghans are not Pakistan enemies, and the entire Afghan government is not Pakistan enemy. And the thing which you said that enemy, India is occupying space in Afghanistan. That is because we have left that space vacant.
Yes, sir, what about TTP and BLA? Because they're also operating from Afghanistan.
Partially yes. The TTP mostly operating from Afghanistan, but some of it we must realize. Unless we realize the actual thing, we will not be able to fight them properly. All of them are not coming from Afghanistan. Some of them are embedded here in some of the remote areas, and especially BLA. All of it is not coming from Afghanistan. It is also coming from the seaside. And they are also, Balochistan is a very vast area. So we have to fight them. We have to fight the intelligence agencies which are behind them, and also keep on pressurizing Afghanistan. Otherwise, with India on one side, and you also declare Afghanistan as an enemy on the other side, and then you will be surrounded by enemies all around. This is not a good foreign policy. This is not a good even military policy. So whereas we should fight them, and you must have noticed that time and again we keep on listening to the statements from Afghanistan that they try to stop them. Probably they may not be able to stop them completely. It may not be possible for them because of the factor which I've said, that some of the factions are not with the main government of Afghanistan. Some of the factions are against Pakistan. So instead of lumping the entire Afghan government and the entire Afghanistan as an enemy state or as something country against us, that will not help us. We have to be very careful in that. So we have to fight BLA. We have to also find out that why some of our people are giving them refuge. What has gone wrong in our handling of the our own people, that they are giving refuge to some of our enemies. So it is a thing which requires a political handling, which requires a social handling, which requires military handling. It is not a nail which can be just hammered, and you will find the solution. It is a very complicated situation.
So, multifaceted policies are required to address this issue. I would like you to please, throw a light on the political side, because we have to deal both Balochistan and the KP in a different perspective. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, there's an elected government, and we have seen that the former FOTA was merged into the province, and now they are the settled districts along with the other districts of the province. But unfortunately, we haven't seen, the politicians, the MPAs and the MNAs and the senators from KP, from those areas, taking lead, in fact, and trying to, create some kind of a consensus among the public as well, and then, giving backing to the security forces.
True. This is a very sad situation. Whenever the government and the armed forces, they make a decision, and because they have all the information, they have all the intelligence with them, and once they plan an operation, everybody must support that. That goes without saying. But there's no harm in taking the people on board, taking them into confidence, which means that before actually launching the operation, there should have been a roundtable conference where everybody should have sat and talked about it. There was a roundtable, but some of the political parties, they boycotted it. That was the wrong thing to do. But I think as far as our own people are concerned, rather than lumping them again as anti-state or anti-country or not faithful, we should rather try to understand their mindset. And politically, everything is possible. Politicians can always do it. The only problem is that there's a very sharp standoff, very deep standoff between the political forces of Pakistan, the ones which are in KPK and the others which are in Sindh and Punjab. That needs to be cooled down. With this sort of standoff, with such deep, feelings against each other, we cannot fight the enemies. For fighting the enemies, we have to have a unity. We all have to think the same way. Similarly, if there are certain factions in Balochistan which have some political apprehensions or social apprehensions or economic apprehensions, we must talk to them. Or, of course, some of them are linked with the terrorists. We can de-link them by talking to the faces which are appearing in media or which are appearing in social media, which are trying to further the political face of the terrorism. We should engage them politically and fight the terrorist kinetically. So it with
But the
kinetics
question,
alone,
but the problem, sorry, yeah, sorry,
the
sir,
prop.
to interrupt you, but the issue is that in the federal government, at the federal level, we have a different political setup, and at the provincial level in KP, we have a different political setup. Maybe the chief minister, which we are hearing that he's going to be removed. The chief minister might have been, giving full support to all the law enforcement agencies working inside KPK. But the problem again was of the local leadership, because there seems that when you have ideological differences, political differences, then that creates a problem, and that is being visible in KP. I'm not talking about Balochistan, in fact.
Now, the main sad thing is that if you have a political difference, if you have even ideological difference, it should not get converted into such a thing that you start siding, or you start creating problems for our own forces, which are fighting against the enemies, because that makes a big dent in the morale of the forces, and also there's a perception, there can be a perception that the entire nation is not one as far as fighting against this terrorism is concerned. So they need to be provided information. They need to be embraced. They need to be talked with. They need to be brought closer, because if we keep on going the way we are going, that the moment something happens, we draw a line and we dump them as anti-state, we dump them as anti-Pakistan, we dump them as anti-army. This will not work. They cannot be anti-army, they cannot be anti-state, they cannot be anti-Pakistan. They're a part of Pakistan, and we should deal with them that way. So I think in this area some work has to be done. They need to be taken on board, and they need to be told, they need to be given all the information that the government has, that this is why we are going against them. And if they are suggesting some other way of dealing with the same thing, we must listen to them. And it is not necessary that whatever they are suggesting will be wrong, because they are more closer to the problem. We must remember that they are more closer to Afghanistan. They are more closer to the boundaries between Afghanistan and Pakistan. They are the ones who are facing day and night the whatever terrorism is coming on. So not listening to them, not paying any heed to them will not solve the problem. We need to get our own people with us. Only then will we successfully be able to fight terrorism in all its aspects.
You're right. What we are experiencing, or what we are seeing at the moment, especially when we talk about Balochistan, because the Indians have been involved for a long time, to destabilize that promise, so that the CPAC and the Chinese investment in Balochistan, that should be hampered and that should be blocked. Recently we have seen that Pakistan has tried, and we had a very good engagement with the Americans, where they showed some kind of interest to invest in our natural resources, especially in Balochistan. And there was a story in the FT as well, Financial Times. Some of the content was not, in fact, entertained by the government of Pakistan and various institutions, but there is a negotiations or some kind of a talks are going on. So Indians, they have became more active. Naturally they wanted to block Chinese investment in Pakistan, which they could not do. And now they are seeing that Pakistan is going to the west as well, the Americans. So do you think that's why we have seen a massive terrorism kind of acts, in last a few weeks and months in Balochistan as well?
The first thing is, Waheed, that we must realize one thing, that it is not only India which is against CPAC. Okay, I will not name the other countries. You know it, and your viewers will understand immediately whatever I am saying. So, if your CPAC was not taking off and your Gwadar port was not getting active as we wanted, it was not only because of Indians. Of course, Indians were behind all that, but now Pakistan's endeavors to engage the West also, I think that could balance the thing. And our public should try to understand that if we also engage those countries which are against CPAC and also offer them some incentives, maybe they will stop working against CPAC. So once we talk to some Europeans or Americans to come and invest in Pakistan, to come and explore the possibilities of taking some advantages that we have. So that way we must allow the government to try that, rather than resisting everything. If of course it is very difficult that here you have Chinese and at some distance you have Americans, but if both can be happy and both can enjoy some benefits, economic benefits, and in that way we reduce that animosity which is going on, and Pakistan has become a battlefield. If we can change that battlefield into a peace something, so we must allow the government to try that at least. Let me say that government is trying various ways and means, rather than opposing every thing. we must wait and see the results, and the government will also be looking at all the results. If even by offering such incentives, the CPAC does not take off, and still we keep on facing the challenges, then probably giving them that space would be of no use. So this is a bargaining which is going on, and we must hold on. We must, have some patience to see what is the outcome. Yes, Indians will never want Chinese to succeed in Pakistan. Indians will never want Americans to succeed in Pakistan. But if Pakistan can succeed in balancing out between China and America, which in my opinion is very difficult. It is not easy. That
Mm.
you, the CPEC also, the CPEC is going. There's hustle and bustle economic activities going on in CPEC and Gwadar. Then there's another economic activity going on as far as exploration of rare minerals are concerned, or some other activity. But if this succeeds, then what is wrong with it? I would also be very happy if that happens, even if it is very difficult to happen. So I think we should allow the government to make such experiments.
Naeem, please kindly tell me that whatever the threatening statements the Indian military leadership or their political leadership they have been issuing for last few days, should we take it seriously? Because some analysts say that this month is very crucial from these threats perspective, because Indians naturally they have been isolated internationally, and their pride is hurt, in fact, and the West, which had which have been relying on India that it's going to counter the Chinese, maybe economically or militarily, but they could not perform in front of Pakistan, which is naturally a smaller country in comparison to India. So, do you think the Indians are going to take a kind of a step again?
You see, the military embarrassment which a large country like India they have faced, and as a result of that military embarrassment, now they are also facing political and diplomatic embarrassment all along the globe. You know it, we know it. So they cannot take it for very long. They would have reacted immediately if they had the wherewithal to do it. But unfortunately for them, and fortunate for us, we had hit them so hard that they could not straighten up for a long time. I predicted some time back that they will at least take 6 to 8 months, which are now nearly about to happen. And then but more probable they will take 1.5 to 2 years to actually carry out any physical action against Pakistan. But of course, the rhetoric can continue, and also they are attacking, as I said, on two other fronts. The terrorist they are using against us, and the cyber and media and social media they are using against us. But one fear is there, one threat is there. They have tried their army, it has not succeeded. They have tried their air force, it has not succeeded. But they have not tried their navy, although their naval vessels were detected in international waters quite ahead from our territorial waters. And even if you detect a naval vessel, especially a submarine, it is a great achievement of Pakistan Navy. So I suspect, and they've also talked about Sir Creek and all such things, that if they want to do any mischief, this time it will be in the waters in Arabian Sea. But there also, I'm very sure that they will get a bloody nose, maybe even bloodier than before. So there is a very low possibility of their coming on ground or coming through air, because for that Pakistan army is ready, and all the world has seen it, the reaction they have seen the reaction. And the wound which we have inflicted is try it will take some time to heal. But they have not yet tried their navy. Maybe they do some mischief, but there also the air force will come into play, the naval forces will come into play, and I'm sure our forces are quite ready. Actually, if in my own assessment, whatever they are doing to us today, that is good enough to continue bleeding us. There are so many people getting shahadat every week, and their propaganda, they're trying to but actually their embarrassment cannot be overcome unless they physically hurt Pakistan in a way that the world can see that they are a big power. So if they try to do that, they'll be repeating the mistake, and the reaction will be even higher than what they have faced earlier. I always used to tell them before this, Operation Tandoor, that we have certain things which they do not know. Let me tell them through your program once again that we still have some things, few things which they do not know. So let them come, let them try. And this time, I would suggest to my leadership that if they carry out any mischief, we should at least make sure not only that we give them a befitting reply in the field wherever they come, but also we should try to finish this Kashmir problem, because they have a lot of forces in Kashmir. They are all within a certain area, and there are only two, three passages which connect Punjab and
Connects them. Yes.
Kashmir, and Indian Punjab and Indian Kashmir. So if we just block those three routes and surround all these forces, those forces are surrounded by the freedom fighters within Kashmir, and we also attack them. I think they will remember this throughout their generations, and this problem of Kashmir can get resolved if they try another mischief this time, inshallah.
Uh, uh, Jan Naeem, please finally tell me that Pakistan, I mean, ISPR, our spokesperson for the armed forces, they said that the geographical myth that the Indians have been using for over many years, that Pakistan is, geographically smaller state, and it's very easy for our forces uh, to engage them and then naturally to inflict damages. But Pakistani armed forces, they have also said that we are going to break this myth. So, do you think that we can go beyond, New Delhi and all that, the weapons that Pakistan possesses, and the will of fighting, and the will for shahadat that you were mentioning, in fact?
You see, the nature of wars, the character of wars, the way it is changing. You are also witnessing. We are also witnessing. Once Israel and Iran fought, they were thousands of miles away from each other, and one country was too big and one country was too small. Once India attacked us, this time also and the last time also, we were still, geographically small, and they were geographically big. But this is not the only factor which decides decides about the outcome of wars. It is number one. The most important thing is the will of the nation. We know that the entire Indian polity and nation, they are not one homogeneous group like Pakistan is. Whenever there is a war against India, you must have noticed that irrespective of your political affiliations, irrespective of what your ideologies, you all become one solid nation. And this has happened not once but many times. So the way Pakistani nation stands against India during war, the Indian nation, they do not have that will. Secondly, our training and even the quality of our equipment. So we have sharpened our things in many other fields. Okay, we are a smaller army, we are a smaller air force, we are a smaller navy, but haven't you seen us fighting? Haven't they seen that what they do, what we do with them whenever they come? So this, they should forget about not only size of the geography, they should also forget about the size of their army numbers and the number of aircraft and those aircraft carriers and all that. You will very soon see if they carry out any mischief, that what happens to all of their assets. So there are so many other factors which propel the nations to fight, and I think our factors are too big as compared to Indian factors, even if they are geographically bigger. So I think whatever Army Chief said and ISPR said, that was right.
Thank you very much, Naeem Lodhi, for former Secretary of Defense, senior
Thank you.
security analyst. Thank you very much for
It's a
joining
pleasure.
us and giving your very important, opinion on a very serious issue that's going on within
Thank you.
Pakistan and this region. Thank you very much.